Hello and welcome again to the Edgy Politics Podcast. Geographical Queen here with today's episode on Russia giving out resources for free. In the just ended Russia-Africa Summit, which was held from the 27th to the 28th of July 2023 in St. Petersburg, the President of the Russian Federation, His Excellency Vladimir Putin, wrote off 23 billion US dollars of African debts and also promised 6 African nations, namely Burkina Faso, Zimbabwe, Mali, Somalia, the Central African Republic, and Eritrea, with 25,000 to 50,000 tons of grain free of charge. Interestingly, the collective voice are highly upset that Russia is giving free food to the so-called desperately poor African countries. One may ask as to why the collective West should have issues with Russia's generosity when they would have been full of praises if it were one of the Western countries that promised such an act, which wouldn't be for free either. It gets really sickening when countries that are not willing to even give out the debt under their fingernails for free gets so entitled to spout only negativities about Russia when one of the countries that truly gives for free is Mother Russia. If we shall be fair to refer to history, Russia has never given anything to any of its African partners for profit. Never. When Russia educates thousands of citizens from various countries around the world through scholarships, it is for free with no strings attached. In the US, for example, such scholarships will be refunded after graduation, and some of those students will be turned into NGO think tank executives who are used to undermine the governments of the countries that the US decides to regime change with time. When Ghana, the first African country to gain independence, approached the then USSR for support, the Soviet Union gave Ghana a nuclear plant and an aluminium smelting plant to support the young sovereign country to develop itself for free. The United States, yes, the same United States we are talking about, the mother of all regime changes, the so-called mother of all democracies, organized a coup d'etat that removed Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, from office on 24th of February 1966. His crime was that he was getting too close to the communists in the Soviet Union. With the overthrow of the president came the overthrow of all the plans too, because they were communist projects. All the nuclear components were dismantled and shipped to the US by the coup puppets led by a certain Colonel Ankara and Colonel Kutuka. A US company at the time known as Kaiser Smelting Company was given the aluminium plant for free. This Kaiser company used the plant to melt aluminium ingots for years for free. Instead of investing some of their ill-gotten proceeds in the country, the company rather charged the country for operating the aluminum plant for them because they claimed they created jobs for the country. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union that gave the country the plant didn't even demand money for it. Again, when the Soviet Union brought in material and machinery to start the Bui Dam in Ghana back then, it was also for free, with no conditions attached. But when the US gave Ghana a grant to build a street, which was named after George Bush, it was to enable farmers to have a good road to send fresh perishable products like pineapples from the central region of Ghana to the ports at Tema to enable swift shipment to the US. With such hypocrisy and ingratitude, this was how the current president of Ghana remembered history.
It is very important that ECOWAS and the West African area remains a democratic space. It's the reason for the actions we took over the coup d'etats in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and in Guinea. And ECOWAS has been very consistent in refusing to deal with these governments because of the undemocratic nature of their accession to power. The commitment to democratic values and institutions is a high priority for our states. We in Ghana have been through all kinds of arrangements, governance arrangements in the past, one-party state, all kinds of experiments have taken place. And our people are now very clear in their mind. They want to go down the avenue of democratic engagement. And that is why the last 30 years of the Fourth Republic have been the most stable in our country's history. We want to do everything to preserve that. But there are enemies of democracy who are working hard in West Africa today. And therefore, it's important that we bring that matter to your notice and see to what extent we can engage you as a reliable partner in the pushback of those forces. There are other areas, of course, of great significance too, the cooperation for economic growth and for the development and for the making of prosperity for our people, which is to some extent part and parcel of the same fight. Because if the young people have things to do, they're not going to be recruits for terrorist forces. So all of that is part and parcel. But specifically, what we can do about the terrorist threat in West Africa is now the major security concern of all our states, especially the coastal states, that up till now, to the last 6 months, have been relatively free of this threat. But now on all our common borders of Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, are these forces that are operating there. And we have to find a way to be able to respond, and respond effectively to protect our populations.
So what do you think? Is Russia today only taking advantage of poor Africa, or Mother Russia is the same generous country which heartily gives to others but is always misunderstood? Well, kindly leave your comments in the comments section below. And thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.